Hey, this is Al Laws, CEO of Win Family Services and your host for Advice for Life. We are here to, we're going to wait for our Facebook family as you come on. How we doing with that, Greg? This is my wife, Aisha Laws, of 23 years, and much love with this lady. So we're waiting for our audience to come on. And so, Greg, I just need you to adjust that up a little bit more. Just a slight bit more. So we got our music going in the back. Okay, good. I want you guys to look at this because we're going to be talking about mask. We're going to be talking about the mask of anger and the mask of authority. So this is going to be our way of talking about the relationships that are going on in our community and talking about it from a different spin, because a lot of people are talking about it. There's a lot of finger pointing. There's a lot of blame going on. And so we just decided that it was in our spirits because it's applicable. You have to recognize that every skill and everything that we're teaching you is really applicable to every area of your life. So these are principles that we're giving you. These principles are to help you be able to apply them to your marriage, to your relationship with your children, to your relationship with your mother-in-law, to your relationship with your boss, to your relationship with your colleagues, to your relationship with everybody in your life, including law enforcement and government officials and all the other people that have influence in your life. So we're going to talk and give a lot around this whole concept of authority, and this whole concept of what was the other one? Authority and anger, and anger related to that. So I'm going to cut my thing down. Hopefully, as my Facebook family is joining us, we appreciate you. Hopefully that you have been able to be blessed by the previous things that we've done. I'm really excited. I see people coming in, making comments, and we're responding to your comments. We've had this past time, we've had close to 700 views that came on. The week before, we had over 1,200 views. So I see that everybody is gathering and being able to talk. And what's so beautiful about the process is that I'm watching and seeing that you are responding and giving these insightful comments. And I got to put my glasses back on because I can't see. I really can't see. So, there you are again. Not young. No. So you guys have really contributed to kind of the fiber in the effectiveness of this gathering, where we're gathering around relationship and we're talking about all aspects of relationship. Look, we're going to cover every aspect. If you go to my podcasts, and that it's at www.advice4life.us. I have an array of podcasts, and I talk about a lot of different subjects. I talk about single mothers and their children. I talk about mother-in-laws and husbands, and we talk about a whole lot of different things. So if you get a chance, go follow me on Facebook and then go follow me on my podcast, and you can get that coming to you every time that we are on the air. And also, look, when you follow me, there's some special things that are going to be coming to you. So you want to get to a place where you're following us on Facebook so we can make sure you get those special insights that are going on. I also want you to do this. You have been very helpful in sharing. So everybody who is listening to this, I need you to share what's going on. You got to share. The more you share, the better it is for us to get more individuals to get what they need. And people every time are saying, my friend shared this with me, and this has really been a blessing to me. And also, I want you to look at the left-hand corner of your phone or your iPad, and you'll see a button that says share. Right now, you can hit that button and then hit share with my friends, and that will go out to your friends right now, and they will be notified to know that you guys are here and you want them to join us in this relationship conversation. And I'm so excited about this format, sweetie. Like, it has been so wonderful to watch this dynamic and watching people just talk about how they've been healed through the process.
Absolutely. And I think this is something that we can all relate to, this segment here on the massive anger and the massive authority, because those two really should not mix. Right. And they're so important because we all wear them at different times. So the question is, can you be aware? Can you see your process enough to know when that mask is? And it's a mask for a reason. The reason why we're calling it a mask, we'll explain later. But I want to check in. I see the hearts. I see the thumbs up from my Facebook family. And look, everybody has been really excited about this dynamic. And so I just want to check in and have our co-host Greg Harris to check in and just talk to us about the folks that have come on. How about it, Greg?
Hey, how's everyone? We have our crew that is checked in. Right. We have Orlando Price who checked in.
Oh, nice, Orlando. He's been putting a lot of little Facebook lives on there. Orlando, I saw you do a couple of things, man. It's good to see you, for you to join us. This is a young guy. This Orlando's a young guy, so I'm glad you're starting young to get your advice, man. That's really exciting.
Yeah, we also got our entourage. We got Tracy, Angela,
our regulars,
Karen, Abiba, Alex, Angela. Well, I said her already.
You know how
Placida.
You know how on those shows like Friends or like
right.
Cheers, you have certain regulars that come in, and those regulars kind of make the atmosphere and the environment, like they are every week are hungry to join us and to be with us and to get the next part of what we're giving.
They share the love.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
They share the love. Placida joined us. Yes. Kowina joined us.
Yes, that's part of my
beautiful people.
Part of my Cheers company.
So go ahead and share, y'all, just like Al shared. Share this broadcast because we're about to get into it, and it is going to be something else.
Anybody give any significant comments, or everybody just shouting out?
Shouting out. Okay. It's all family.
Okay, nice. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, Maureen just says, hey, Aisha.
Yes, nice, Maureen. Yep. So I love the dynamic, and the good thing is that we made this change. It's so funny. When we did the practice session yesterday, I was amazed. We had almost 300 views on the practice section. I said, my folks on Facebook, they like to see those little funny dynamics that are going on. And so you saw in that we changed our format so we could have an ability on our screen to kind of see who's checking in and see names as they come through. Noni just came on now. That's amazing.
Wow.
Hey, Noni, love you, sweetie. Yep, that's huge. So now we can kind of see you in a better way. So we're trying to improve this as we go on, so it's clear. Hopefully the sound is clear. So if you feel like the sound is good, or if you notice any interruptions, please don't hesitate to let us know so that we can check in. Because my engineer over here, Galen, and Greg are both trying to make sure that we give you the best sound. And plus, on top of that, we're recording for our radio program. So you guys are actually, they're partakers of all that we're doing in this. Mm-hmm. So I just want to start out, but I really want to tell you that my wife is going to have a lot to say about these subject matters. And I want her to say a lot because I'm telling you, I've been with this woman for 23 years. And she has an impeccable level of wisdom and insight. And I'm telling you, she says it so different than most people give it. I'm telling you. And I think I'm pretty good. That's that pretty Ricky in me. I think I'm pretty good at giving and communicating to people concepts and ideas and helping them with transforming aspects of their life. Mm-hmm. And I've been counseling people for over 25 years. So I think I'm pretty good, but I'm going to tell you, she's better.
Oh, bless you, honey.
No, she's better. My wife, my wife is so good at that. So I'm going to kind of set the stage, give some parameters, and just let us get blast off and go. So I just want to. Somebody just had a comment, Greg. There was that Wayne Lucas.
Thanks for. Whoops.
He said, thanks for reminding me how to control my anger. Isn't that amazing? Thank you, Wayne. I got a lot of hearts off of that. So let me get right to it. So God just kind of moved me in this way. I was at my CEO address, and I'm actually going to post that video once Greg gets a chance to edit it. And that was a very powerful experience for me, because God just moved. Like, I had no idea that I was going to be speaking on that subject, but it came up and it came out so fluent in my spirit, and I had not even given a thought to it. And so I think it was because it was real for me, because I had experienced anger. That's what I shared with my staff. I had gotten into an angry place, and that pushed me to maybe be contemplating in my mind. I at least know that I was aware of my process, that I was angry, and I do recognize that I was doing a lot within myself to not let anger control me.
Absolutely.
Or not let me make decisions that were not consistent with me.
Right. I think that's powerful, because then if you do that, then you are actually utilizing your authority to hide your anger. So now that's when authority becomes the mask, because authority shouldn't be a mask. It should be a crown, not a mask. You're supposed to be transparent when you have authority.
Exactly. So that's exactly where we're going. You see that connection, that there's a connection between the anger that you see happening in our communities and the authority that's happening in our communities, and how we both perceive that authority and how that authority is responded to by us.
Yes.
And any anger that may be on both sides. So I'm probably gonna say some controversial things. Some people are not gonna like all the things I'm gonna be saying, but I'm certainly going to try to be as ginger and delicate as I can. But I'm going to make some very clear statements. So number one, it's clear that we're in a state of emergency and anger in our communities.
Yes.
There is a lot of people who have a lot of thoughts and feelings about what dynamics are happening. We see young men being gunned down in the street, and we also have seen in the past months, we saw some police officers get cut down in the street. So I'm gonna make a couple of very, very affirming statements. And please stay with me. Don't check out. Some of you are going to say, oh, I'm not going to follow him because he said that. Listen, we're in America. I'm amazed at what I see on Facebook, where people are attacking people personally because they have a different view than them, because they following a different political figure than them. Look, this is not about us attacking each other personally. We're in America. In America, you have a right to make the decisions you want. And just because a person doesn't agree with you does not mean that they're dumb or stupid. It just means that they have a different perspective than you. It doesn't mean that they might it doesn't matter. I'm saying we're in America, and we have to respect what people are giving in that. So let me just make this statement. Number one, we need in our society, we need the rule of law in our society, and we need men and women who volunteer to risk their lives to save and protect us in order for us to live peaceably in this society. That's an absolute fact. We need the police officers. We need the government officials. We need the FBI. We need all these public officials who risk their lives day and night. They give themselves. They go away from their families. I see Laura, whose husband is a police officer. She said yes. Hey, so they have to. They leave their families. And they put themselves in harm's way so that we can walk the streets and go to the mall and do the things that we do every day. And let me make this second statement, that most of, I don't know a percentage, but I'm going to say most of the law enforcement officers are people just like us who care about their families, want to do the right thing, want to treat people right, and they really are upstanding individuals. Most of them. I don't know the percentage, but I'm saying most. That's a fact statement that I'm making. Okay? So since I made those two statements, let me balance that statement with a couple of other statements. It is absolutely true in this country that we have institutional racism and bias that has been built into our system from the foundation of this country. And anyone who is not willing to speak about that, who is not willing to own and to admit that that is one of the foundational issues. It was built into our society from the foundation. So I'm not judging and saying that we don't have a great country, because I do believe that God has blessed this country in a way that we are evolving and growing past some of the things that went wrong in the beginning, or some of the intentions that were there. But God was wise enough to still make them say certain things in that Declaration of Independence, where he says all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that no man really gives you your rights. Government doesn't give you your rights. God gives you your rights. Right. And what's happening in this country is that we're turning people away from God. We're trying to help make people think that God is a myth. And the moment people get you to believe that God is a myth, then they have control over you. Because what happens in that is that now they dictate whether you have your rights, not God. Right. Our founders recognized that God gave us our rights. And even through some of the prejudice that was happening in there, and you need to go and look at my post that I talked about this, God still had them declare in their declaration that all men were created equal and they were endowed by rights from God. Now, even though they considered African Americans at that time a part of a person, a portion of a person, it doesn't change the truth and the reality that was spoken in those words. Did you want to say something? Because I kept.
No, I want you to finish your statement.
Okay. So there is a bias, and in fact, that bias has been reinforced in our country, in our literature, reinforced in in the public square. I told a friend of mine, and he won't mind. I'm not going to mention his name, but he is one of my closest friends, brother, and he happens to be white. And I told him probably about 18 years ago. I said, I want you to recognize that I know that you are okay and that you're not prejudiced and that you see me as a brother and that you love me. But I want you to know that my experience in the world, that it's not like that in every area. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And I challenged him. I said, look at the television show. So back then, 18 years ago, if you looked at television, you would rarely see black African-American males, or even females for that. Females got a little bit more in it, but especially African-American males, you never saw them in a light that was positive. You never saw them as, these in the commercials as having their children and taking care of their children. Right. They weren't buying the Volvos. There weren't commercials of them, on vacation. Like, those things were not there. And he didn't believe me. I said, look in your magazines, look on your television screen. And when he did it, he could not believe that when he looked at it, he could not find it. And it wasn't his fault that he didn't see it, but that was a natural bias that was put in our system to blind him from the reality that African American people have had to deal with all their life and through the generations, and listen to the stories of their grandparents and listening to their grandparents' parents talk about what they have had to go through to just be recognized, to just be relevant, to just have the same opportunities in this country. And look, this country has improved. We have gotten much better. We have a black president, which is amazing. Right. We have a lot of different things that we can put our hats on and say. And I want to be clear about this. And this is so important. And I know I'm taking a lot of time on this, but this is very important. If you think that this is a black and white thing, you have missed the whole point of what I just said. This is not about black and white. This is not about you taking a position against all white people. Because I'm going to say this again. Most white people have good hearts that are just like anybody else in this world. And they also feel in their heart and hate the fact of what's going on in this country. And they recognize that they live in what is called white privilege, and they have a unfair advantage. Now, if you look at my Facebook thing, and I had that comedian over there, he made it so funny because he said, look, I'm not saying that that being white is better. He's just saying that if they ask me to sign up next year to be white, I'm signing up because I have so much privilege. Who turns down their privileges? So my point is, the Bible says that our war is not against flesh and blood.
Right.
We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities, powers of darkness, rulers in high places. So I don't want you to get this twisted. This is not, and when people begin to try to make it a black and white thing, they've missed the whole point. This is about a society that has to acknowledge that there is unfair advantage and unfair balance that's going on in this world, as opposed to pointing, again, it's the same thing I said about Facebook. Stop pointing your finger at people when really it's the issue that's at stake.
Exactly.
Don't point your finger at people. Point your finger at the issue. Now, the second part, because I've run on this, I've taken this way off of what but it's important because this is the context of what we're talking about. The second thing that I want to say is that people have to recognize that it is a reality for African American males that they recognize that they are not as safe as everybody else in the society.
Yes.
And that the authorities that are responsible for caring for their rights and their justice, to not make them feel different than anybody else. Meaning everybody should feel safe in this society. But because we're not in that place, what happens is that because the authorities, the government, and we hire a lot of people in government, they give us a lot of talk, but they're not making any changes. We have, and at the local level, the people who are giving their lives, the police officers, have to recognize that it is their responsibility based on their authority to hold accountable officers and thinking and processes in their systems that they know are not consistent with giving everybody equal rights. And the frustrating thing that I see happening and why I see some anger rising up is because people that have that authority, these police officers won't speak up. They won't hold their brothers accountable. They won't say, hey, I know what's going on in some of these back rooms. Not all the back rooms. They're here and there. I know what XY particular police officer has said to me that showed me that he has bias that's out of control. Now, all of us have bias, but his bias is out of control in that way. So I think that those statements that I'm making are very important because I want to open it up because I want my wife to do what I just did, which is I want her to give a rampage and talking about this whole concept of anger that I brought up. And my scripture that I led with was that the anger of man cannot accomplish the righteousness of God, because we get into a place and we've been used and comfortable with dealing with anger, with using anger and the mask of anger as our way of dealing with our problems. Most people can't even have a conversation that is difficult in a relationship unless they're fighting and they're in anger. So, baby, I just want you to kind of open up that whole piece around anger.
Well, I mean, the mask of anger is really, it's utilized so that you can hide hurt, so that you can hide fear. So I think authority in that way gives you the opportunity to overcome those. So when you're in authority and you're given oversight, it is a trusted position that everybody has to adhere to. And it's based on your character, how you will handle that authority, how you will handle that. Yes. Will it be a mask that you hide all your wounds behind and then you'll administer that authority recklessly? Or will it be the crown that you wear nobly and actually walk in the midst of your community to protect and serve them? Every authority is placed in a position to protect and serve.
Right.
This is my husband. He's here as an authority in our family to protect and serve us. So every authority is in that way in your place to protect and serve. Do you hold that post nobly? And if you do, you would not want anyone to step in there and deface the family.
Right.
Deface the community that you are there to serve and protect. You would honor that role nobly.
Yes. And you will hold others accountable who do not honor that role.
Absolutely. You would have, it would be wounding to you if you did not.
Now, the twist is going to be when we get to the fact that it's easy for people to point out to people who have very difficult jobs like the police officers and talk about how they don't handle their authority or how they're not managing their anger. But I think which we see here and what I try to get you to do with Advice for Life, I want you to begin to apply it to your process. Absolutely. I think we have to first be partakers of what we point to. So if you're pointing to something and you're not dealing with it in your own life, then that pointing is hypocritical, is fake. It doesn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. A lot of people want to point the finger. Jesus said, take the mote out of your own eye before you try to take it out your brother's. So we are going to have to take time to apply what we're going to be about to talk to, apply that to the mask of anger that we wear and to the mask of authority that we abuse in our lives.
Either those two things can go together. If you're in a position of authority, then you can utilize that authority to hide your anger and abuse those that are under you, that are your those that are in your community to protect and serve. That's your job. You can utilize your anger behind the mask of authority and abuse your wife. You can utilize that authority and use it as a mask to hide your anger and abuse your children because they didn't do what the authority said they were supposed to do.
Yes.
And that is unacceptable. And that hurt and that anger will be revealed, and your post will be given to another.
Wow.
It will be revealed.
Post given to another.
And your post will be given to another because it is the proper tools of authority are love and compassion. They are love and compassion. If you do not utilize those tools, then you'll have anger. Then you'll have the mask of authority rather than the crown of authority.
The mask of authority rather than the crown of it. I love how you said that. The mask of authority. So we're trading in. What you just gave us is that we're trading in the mask of authority for a crown, or the mask that we wear. We're trading them in so they become something pleasing to God, a crown that He can point to and say, "Well, please, my good and faithful servant." Like we're trying to translate from the masks that are inauthentic to something that is royal and authentic by a crown. What a metaphor, sweetie.
Absolutely.
I told y'all. I told y'all.
and the love and compassion, those are jewels. The gifts of the Spirit, those are jewels in that crown. And will we wield that authority properly? It is our obligation to wield it properly as parents, as authority figures in our community, as a CEO of an organization. You're the leader of many people in many families. So you have the obligation before God and before your community, before your families, to do it nobly.
Yes.
Which is not self-serving.
Right.
Not with a callous heart, but with a compassionate heart.
Right. Whoo! Okay, everybody. I hope you know how to ride that train right there. So I want to talk a little bit about this connection between anger and authority, because what happens is, and what I share, and some people who have kind of followed me and were at the CEO address, they'll get a repeat, but I think it's worthy to repeat and to say that anger is not your friend. And although it's the most comfortable emotion that we go to when we've been wronged, or we're disappointed, or when we are frustrated, or when we are trying to protect ourselves, anger is our number one go-to emotion. It's because it's easy. Everybody can get angry, and everybody can have an outburst of anger. That's not hard to do. It's easy. It's available. And actually, it's healthy when used properly, because God gave us the ability to express anger so we wouldn't hold it in. And those of you who are the ones that says, well, I don't never get angry. Well, you having issues, because that stuff is internally working in you, and you have to vent. I don't care how you vent, and you may not have to get angry like the next person, but you do have to vent what's going on with you. But here's the key. Most of us, when we get to that place, we vent inappropriately. We don't look at and hold ourselves accountable and look at our character to make sure that the way that we're venting is appropriate. Right. So that's why God says, be angry, but sin not. Meaning that you can be angry, young man, young woman. You can be angry, but you cannot allow that to take you to a place that takes you outside of your character. So you begin to violate from it. So the moment that you're violating as a result of anger, then you have been inappropriate in it. That's why he even says, don't let the sun go down on your wrath, on your anger.
Right. I'm from Brooklyn. And there were a lot of situations I got in just walking along, being 5'2", that put me in a fearful position. So I was afraid. They were coming to beat me up. They want to stomp me. They're going to hurt my sister. They're going to hurt my brother. And the minute that someone grabbed my brother, now I'm angry. I'm not fearful. Anger really overcame the fear.
Right.
Which is what needed to happen for him to be protected.
Right.
So anger was in its place at the time it needed to be there. But when that happens and we get accustomed to utilizing that, then it's out of sorts.
Right.
It's inordinate affection to the anger to dispel the fear.
Right.
When it's really perfect love that casts out fear. So you need that love and compassion in an authoritative position.
Right.
Because if not, then anger will be there to cast out the fear. Anger will be there to cast out the fear. If your wife has something to say or your husband has something to say to you, you're afraid of what they're going to say, anger can pop up and overwhelm that fear so that you don't have to deal with that. Or you can deal with love and compassion and go in and bring yourself to the side and serve the one that you are there to protect and serve.
Absolutely. So I like the way you connected that love, perfect love casts out fear. Perfect. That's what the scriptures say. So I like that connection you made with love and anger, that love casts out fear, not anger.
Right.
And in addition to what happens is that this is why it's very insidious, that anger will convince you that it is right and you are justified for responding and going beyond what's reasonable or going beyond and even sinning. That's why people get so angry. They go back and they want to assault somebody, or they want to kill somebody, or they want to. We just dealt with one of our callers who was dealing with the husband getting so mad that he put his hands on her.
Right.
I'm sure this is a nice guy. I'm sure he didn't want to put his hands on her, but his anger took him over, which made his actions absolutely not nice. So anger it has a way of convincing you that you are justified for the response that you have. Because what it's really trying to do is trying to vindicate you. It's trying to make you feel like you're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to get past my and not let me protect myself. I'm going to protect myself against you. So my anger is going to protect you, and it's going to bring you down before you bring me down. And go ahead.
And you also have that misplaced anger. So you have someone angry because something happened at work.
Right.
And they go home.
Right.
And now they're angry with everybody in the house.
Right. That mask of anger, as I told you before, it also is a mask for projection. You project what's going on. So yes, it becomes misplaced because you will carry along. And I was just thinking about that. Did you said that, sweetie? Because I was just thinking how many times people are carrying anger inside them about another situation, and then they come to work and treat the people at work bad, or they something bad at work happened to them, they come and treat their wife bad, or their husband bad, or their children bad. So we have to be very careful because anger is so convenient, and since we have not learned skills to respond to it, and we haven't learned other options, because all we know is to be angry, to fight, or to run away from a situation. So with Advice for Life, we're giving you the skills to help you see your process, so you look at your intentions. What is it that I'm really trying? What is this anger really trying to get me to see? What is it that my intentions are? What am I trying to do for myself? And then you look at your feelings, and you are able to identify your feelings with one word, as we've taught you. And when you're able to really lock into your feelings, yes, anger may be one of your feelings, but you have a whole host of other feelings. And most of the time, and I would almost say all of the time, underneath anger are all these other feelings that anger is holding down, that anger will not let elevate up, because it is the boss. It is the one that says, I'm the strongest, I'm the most powerful, and all the other feelings just get silenced.
It's just loud.
Yeah, anger's loud. It is so loud. And because those other feelings are not able to really express themselves properly, those other feelings have a little bit more wisdom to them. I mean, those other feelings will give you other options other than lashing out or acting out or calling people outside their name or generalizing all police officers. That's what's wrong with. No, it's not all police officers. Right. You begin to generalize groups and you begin to point your finger at people because of your anger. And so you have to be very skillful and aware that there are always underlying feelings that you need to identify with one word underneath that anger. And when you do that, it'll be remarkable, because those feelings will come up and they're almost like, you know, if you're angry and you're around people who really love you, how they try to talk you off the ledge. Anybody know about I've been talked off the ledge. I've been talked off the ledge. So those other feelings that are underneath will come up and talk your anger off the ledge. Like, it will begin to give it insight and wisdom. And then when you get that, then your thinking will change. Where you are all the way committed and convinced that you are justified for reacting and responding the way you are because you don't like it. It hurts you.
Right.
It violated you. You tried to hurt me, so I'm going to hurt you. But again, in the scriptures, it says that you are supposed to do good to those who spitefully use you and persecute you. You're supposed to speak well. So I'm telling you that that's connected to Advice for Life and Family Strength. And we say you have to look for good and find good even when you get violated, even when you are angry. The way you help yourself is to find good in the situation.
Absolutely. But I am an African American woman. I am a part of the community that is crying out. Now is what you're sharing about. And I have some feeling words. I have them. It's a hurt, feeling insignificant, like our caller shared.
Insignificant.
And fearful.
Wow.
When the authority becomes ominous, pride is present. Fear is present. And the authority has to dispel those things.
Yes. Say that again, sweetie.
The authority has to dispel those things.
So it's on the onus of the authority, because you are in authority, that you have to dispel it. You have to do something that's concrete, that shows your humility and your willingness to look at your process so that people can feel safe. And I think that crosses over to a husband and wife.
Yes.
That if a lot of men want to claim that they're the authority in their household, I'm the man of the house, they quick to grab the authority because they see it as power. They see it as control, where somebody gets to follow what they're saying. However, there's a responsibility with every authority that's in this earth. You don't get to be an authority without recognizing that you have a responsibility that's tagged to that. And so you really are not a faithful authority if you are not willing to hold your responsibility. So your responsibility, if you say I'm the man of the house, is my authority, then you have to be the one to go and check in with your wife to make sure she's all right. You have to be the first to be willing to hear her rather than trying to make her hear you. If you are the authority. I'm talking, y'all hear my spiritual example, because I'm crossing this over even in our community. If you're the authority, you should be the one to show understanding and give feeling words to the person that you are an authority over, and let them know that you want to know what their thoughts and feelings are, and you respect them and you honor them. So if you're in authority, you have to be willing to take on the responsibility and to execute. You have to be the one that has the most humility. You have to be the one who has to be the better listener. You have to be the first one to say, I'm sorry. You have to be the first one to give and execute forgiveness. And I know all the ladies out there, man, I'm getting hearts and thumbs up. You guys love that. But look, I'm not saying that women don't have a responsibility, because they have a responsibility that people that now has become almost a evil word in our society. Their responsibility is to submit. And just like we have a responsibility to submit to our authorities, which the scriptures talk about. I'm going to read that later. However, I'm saying that all of us have a responsibility. And part of that responsibility is that we have to be willing to own it and see it.
Absolutely.
And take responsibility for it.
Absolutely. And these are different types of leaders, aren't there?
Yes.
I mean, there's different types. I mean, when you are about to be given the authority, what is your character? Are you longing to be the authoritative figure so that, finally someone and everyone has to listen to me?
Right.
Or is it, finally I get to serve?
Right.
Finally I get to stand and protect the community. Finally I get to serve in a family setting.
Right.
What is your heart? Are you there to give, or are you there to be a dictator? Because a lot of people wait and can't wait for everybody to have to listen to them. You're going to have to listen.
That's parents too, to your children.
Absolutely.
Your parents told you what to do, and you swore you couldn't wait to get out the house.
Oh, I was
and you can't wait. You can't wait to tell your children what to do and to give them what for. You better be kind and gentle and understanding. Remember, when you were a child, you better use some methods that help you still hold your children accountable, but at the same time that you deal with them in an understanding way. And the Bible even says this, because as a parent, you're the authority. It says, parents, do not provoke your children to wrath.
Absolutely.
And so if you're a parent, if you're authority, I'm saying this to the community, the authorities in the community, do not provoke your children to wrath. Do not provoke the community to wrath, but show understanding and grace and love and recognize. And sometimes somebody has to say, I understand why you feel this way. I understand why you have some mistrust. It makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
I still may not be able to give you what you want, but at least you show me understanding about it. And stop trying to point the finger about all these other things that are happening in the community and not dealing with what's there. That's what we do in our personal relationships. Absolutely. Is that we point the finger to everything else. What that person did over there, what they didn't do over there, how they said that last week, and somebody brings something up that's legitimate for you to deal with. And so instead of you dealing with it, you first say, well, last week you did so and so and so.
Oh, Lord.
What
does that have to do with anything?
What does that have to do with anything? You were going to say something.
I was going to say that even as parents, I mean, I've been found there. I said something to my child because I thought she said something disrespectful.
Right.
She comes back and says, well, Mommy, I answered your question. I'm like, I'm so sorry, baby. But I could be the type of mommy that said, well, you know, you did something else.
Right.
You deserve that another day.
Another day. Just put that in your pocket.
No,
right there.
That's not okay. You did something wrong. You come out and you say you did and you apologize.
So we're coming near the end of this session. I know we have so much more, so we're going to continue this to some degree. Mm-hmm. But I like the way we're connecting this both in our personal lives and what's happening before us in the news in our community. I like the connection between authority and anger, because that's what we're experiencing all around us. Mm-hmm. That we're experiencing a lot of anger and how people are responding to authority. And so this has been beautiful, and I love how my wife really kind of hit to the nail of it, that love is really where we have to get to, because love casts out these things. Love puts us in a position to respond properly in our authority, to respond properly with our anger. Yes. Love allows us to do this. Love covers a multitude of troubles and sins. Mm-hmm. And so I want to read this last thing about authority that is said in God's word. He says, let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except by God's appointment, and the authorities that exist have been instituted by God. Mm-hmm. So I want us who may be under authority to recognize that God says, I appoint authority. And so you need to respect it. You still should hold it accountable, but you need to respect it. The same way I believe that my children, I give them permission to hold me accountable, but they don't tell me what to do. They don't lead and direct what's going on in the household. But they can hold me accountable, but they have to do it respectfully. They have to do it with honor.
Absolutely.
Right? So we have to respect authority. And authorities, this is saying to you that you have to recognize that God is watching.
Yes.
You get your authority, and it's given by God. And if you are doing things that are not consistent with what He has asked you to do, and if you're not acknowledging Him, that means God in all your ways, so that your path is straight. You need to begin to do that, because that's where that's the only place healing is going to happen. I see the hearts coming. That's the only way healing is going to happen in our community, if we express love and we express the love of God with each other. We're not going to keep pointing the fingers. We're not going to find people to blame. We're going to look at solutions, and we're going to look at solutions both in our personal lives and our community. And we don't have we got to kind of bring it down, but the love is going on. I love my Facebook community. You guys have been off the chain, the hook, the whatever y'all call it these days.
Yeah.
100. You have been that way in this, and I want Greg to get a chance to begin to give you some feedback on some of the comments that happened.
I
as
just
we
want
go.
to share
Go ahead,
that one of the number one way to show love for the authorities in our community is praying for the authorities.
Yes.
I think that's very important.
Very
It
important.
is the most important thing, that we pray for one another, and especially the authorities.
That is so on point. Yes.
Hey, yeah. So, I had a little glitch in my iPad, and so a whole heap of people that I wanted to recognize disappeared. One was my stepbrother, Rick.
Okay.
I don't know if Rick is still on,
Okay,
but
nice.
he chimed in.
Nice, Rick.
His name is Derek Nunn, and
Derek,
Rick. Hey, welcome in. Ayana is with us. Ayana chimed in.
How you doing, sweetie?
Ayana.
It's been a long time.
She says, in your feelings is always a dangerous place to be. That's what Ayana shared. And then we have with us Sherry Hunt.
Oh, nice, Sherry. That's Larry's sister. Yes.
Right.
Nice.
And you know I got to shout out to this person right here. Khadija is with us.
Khadija. Riding on the truck, riding the road.
I see.
Yes.
Letting people know what's up. Nice.
Our very own Ty Wheeler, she says, in my anger this week, I wanted to justify my position. However, God gave to me, if you are not just over all of your dominion, you cannot justify and defend this one incident.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful, Ty.
Yeah.
If you cannot be in dominion over anger, you cannot. What's the last part she said?
You cannot justify and defend this one incident.
You cannot justify or defend the incident. So
right.
That talked about how we have to use other tools, other awareness and family strengthening tools, so we are able to respond to those situations in an appropriate way.
A buddy of mine, this one, his name is Victor, down in D.C. area. He's joined and chimed in.
Victor.
And Art. His name is Art Hurst. He's from, I think, Ohio or someplace like that.
Art from Ohio. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of new listeners today. This is nice. I love that you guys are coming into our mix. And just for some people don't even know this, if you don't make a comment that we can't see you, we don't know that you're on necessarily.
Right.
The number will show up. You will show up in the numbers of people that were there after we send it out. But we won't know. So just check in. Even if you don't want to say anything, just put hi or something.
Right.
Put a thumbs up and a couple of hearts.
Right.
Yes.
We have Prudence is with us. We have Pamela this chimed in.
I saw Melisha giving some kisses there. She said, "Hey Ty," but she meant everyone too. So she said what Ty said was awesome. So
yeah. We also have, let's see, because while this has been going on, a lot of other people have been chiming in.
I see
Kawina. Yep. I love this quote: "Accept responsibility for your actions. Be accountable for your results. Take advantages of your mistakes. Okay. This produces growth."
Wow, nice feedback.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Daytrell,
Trail, she is so face. She's part of that Cheers community too, because she comes to she checks in on all that we're doing. She's always giving positive feedback. She one time she shared what I had and says, "Y'all have to listen to my cousin. This is awesome." And so I love that. And so again, I want to remind everybody who's here, if I get everybody to share, I still only got like 30 something shares. I'm trying to get 50 shares. So I need everybody who is listening to share. And then guess what? You can share more than one time. So I need you to share more than once. So if you're going through the week and you say, "Yeah, I'm still feasting off of what I got from the program. Let me go in here when I get in Facebook. Let me share it again." I need you guys to continue to do that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And Dayton Wheeler.
That's A. Charles' husband. Yeah.
Right. Okay, because I saw that. I was like, oh, yeah, let me not leave that out. So, yeah, thanks for chiming
That's my cousin
in.
Rhonda. Look at her. Amen. Yeah, I see. Good to see you, Rhonda.
Yeah. So, yeah, we got a lot of love.
Yeah.
A lot of love going on.
You don't have the previous ones.
No,
This is what I need you to do, Greg.
I couldn't see
While
it.
I say something, I want you to get out of this or where you're in and go back in again, and
Okay.
it should come back up for you. So that's part of it. Yesterday we had a lot of this technical things, and we did a lot to try to prepare to make sure that the technology was worked out. We're still doing it. We're still learning as we go. But I can see some of the things on there, and I see who is that? Ivory.
Good.
Good. Okay, that's a cousin. Yep. Good. Oh, okay. Ivory. No, but that's somebody that Io. She said thanks for sharing. Io.
Yeah.
Yep. And who is that other? Is that Bernadette Johnson? Hey, Bernadette, good to see you. Io is there. Oh, okay, I've been asking her, so she's there. That's my sister. That's my little sis. It's my partner in the work, and so I'm loving that she's there. And yeah, so as Greg's checking back in, because I really want to get these comments at the end. I think we had so many comments. You guys were like filled with giving feedback and comments, and so as we look at it, I'm going a little over. Usually we do probably about 40 to 45 minutes, but we're going to go a little longer here. Did it come back up? Were you able to get others?
No, he can't.
Well, what happens is I'm here, but then when I go to comments,
You go into comments and
it limits how far back I can go.
How far back? Yeah.
It shouldn't, but we'll have to check that out. So
Terry,
maybe that's part of
Terry Hunt. Oh, did I make
Who's
sure?
that?
Terry
Hunt. Hey, oh yeah. Hey Terry, how you doing? Yep. Welcome. Said they love us. I see a lot of love coming out. The thumbs. If you hit that little love button and the thumbs up, that's really, even when people watch it on and they're watching the video, they see that. They see that love's being shared. There's Zimbabwe, and she was there. She said it was very inspiring. Thank you, Alan. Aisha. See, now I can read some of them too. So I love this. I think the test worked from yesterday. I see the loves, the hearts, and Christina's there. She said it was great, guys. As my cousin Stacy just joined. Hey Stacy, she's another faithful one. She's part of the Cheers community. She always checking in, always giving encouragement. I see her sharing my stuff all the time. Thank you, cousin. I appreciate it. Her husband also, Ray, is a big man. Now what Ray does, Ray goes to another level. Ray is one of the most avid followers of my podcast. He goes through and he listens to it in the morning. It's like his motivational thing that he does. While he's driving, he'll listen to it. When he's coming home, when he gets a chance, he says, when I'm getting dressed in the morning, I'll listen to your podcast because it gets me ready so I'm prepared to show up properly for my wife. And I said, see, that's what I'm talking about. You as authority, you're willing to come and show up properly. And so if you go to the podcast, if you go to www.advice4life.us, go to podcasts. It's free. You can go and you can listen to. We got 60 something shows with just as much fullness and content that you hear right here today. You can get that and you can be listening to it. If you're married, or if you're dating somebody, or if you're having issues with your children, or you're struggling at work with your boss, what I'm telling you, what you need to do. Hey, Charity, I see this, sweetie. What you need to do is you need to tell, if you're sitting down with the other person, if there's another person involved, even you sit down with them and you say, let's listen to this together. They're very short. They're 30 minutes. At best, they're 30 minutes long. And this is the only requirement that I have you do. You are responsible for, when you are listening, to listen for what you can get from it. You're listening for how you want God to change you, how he wants to make you different. And I want you to be willing to share that with the person that's listening with you. You are not there to try to point to that person and say, did you hear that? I don't know if you heard that. Can you rewind that? Because I think you need to hear that. No, you need to rewind the parts that you need to hear and that you need to change. So both people need to be in a position where they're looking to change and to look for what they need to change and grow from, rather than looking for what the other person has. That's the only thing I'm going to give you. That's that's Zelly. Who's Zelly Douglas? That's somebody who's new. Hi Zelly, welcome. We're glad you came in. Carla is she's also part of the Cheers community that's there. And
Lumumba.
Lumumba. Yeah, Lumumba. I saw him come on the test, so it was nice that you were joining us, Lumumba. I need more males to come on. I need more males to kind of speak, their side. There's these different perspectives. Absolutely. So it's very important for me to have, as part of this audience, this crew, to do that. Look, you guys have been absolutely wonderful. I hope that you got a lot from this. And if you did, all I ask you to do, I ask you to share it. I ask you to promote the program. Tell your friends. Tell people. Let them know. Show up every week and encourage us to continue to do what we're doing. Look, it takes a lot of energy and effort to do this. And we don't do it for any cost or anything like that. We do it because we want to bless people. And if it's being helpful to people, we want to continue to do it. So encourage us. Encourage the program. Help us make it a blessing to other people. Look, remember, and I want you to remember this: Sunday mornings we're coming on. If you missed last week's program, let me tell you, you need to go back to the podcast and listen to last week's program where we did that interview with our caller. Okay. That was so powerful. The things that my wife was sharing in that was so powerful. So go back to the podcast. Follow me on Facebook and follow me on the podcast. And we come on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. You can download the iHeartRadio app and search for Gospel and then Heaven 600, and then you'll be there. And a lot of times on what you I guess that's the best way to do it. Just download the iHeartRadio app, because it live streams, and most of you can't. Even if you're in Baltimore, you can't get it on the radio clear anyway because it's AM. So I want to let my wife leave and see if she has any departing thoughts and words to kind of close this out.
If God has placed you in authority, do that humbly and with great fear in your heart, trying your best to please the living God.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. Same bat channel, same bat station, same bat time, 8:30 every Tuesday night. Spread the word. Much love. We're out.